this week's book chat. It is officially time to pick out my March TBR. I can't believe it. Let's get right to it. I don't know where the year is going, but somehow it's already time to pick out my March TBR, and I've decided to bring back my trusty TBR jar to do it. So I just have some quickly made prompts in here, and we're just going to be picking them out and picking my books for the month. Now, since it is March and that is when the seasons switch over from winter to spring, I really want to get in the spring vibes, and I feel like I really need to get in the spring vibes. Don't we all by this point? So I've decided that for March, my theme is going to be spring. So let's grab my jar and let's pick out some spring-based books. Now, I typically read about 8 to 10 books a month, so for my TBR, we're going to be picking out 6 books together because that gives me some leeway to mood read a little bit. So let's pick our first book. A fantasy book. Okay, well, that's super easy. Although I feel like most fantasy books are not very springy. So this over here is my fantasy TBR shelf. Yes, all of it. So let's see if I have any spring-like fantasy books. That was more difficult than it should have been, but I grabbed 3 options for us. I have Thorn Season by Kira Azar. This one just has such pretty edges that it just made me think of spring, like the pretty trees and the pink. It made me think of spring, and I believe it's about an heiress possessing illegal magic, a royal court, and 2 beguiling and very dangerous men. And it's rose season at the palace, so rose season feels very springy to me, right? I feel like yes. Another option is The Elsewhere Express by Samantha Soto-Yambao. This one, again, I saw the edges and it just kind of reminded me of spring. This one is about a magical train that when you step aboard, it takes you to your life's purpose. So our main character is a little bit lost. She steps aboard and has a strange night on this train. So I feel like that could be springy. I feel like you could read that anytime. And the last one I picked up was Enchanted Islands by Allison Amend. This one is very old. It's from 2016, but it kind of just, I don't know, gave a springy vibe. May also give a summer vibe, but I feel like it gives a very springy vibe. Inspired by the mid-century memoirs of Frances Conway, Enchanted Islands is the dazzling story of an independent American woman whose path takes her far from her native Minnesota when she and her husband, an undercover intelligence officer, are sent to the Galapagos Islands at the brink of World War II. Maybe not springy. So, if we're really going with the theme of this video, which is spring, I feel like Thorn Season is what we have to go with because it just feels very springy. The whole book looks springy. The fact that it takes place in rose season feels very springy. So we're gonna have to go with this one for book number 1, a fantasy book, and that is Thorn Season. Time to pick book number 2. A book by one of my favorite authors. Ooh, that's such a nice one. How fun. Okay, so let me see what I have by my favorite authors. I don't know if I have very many because I tend to read them fast, but let me see if I have anything but my favorite authors and then we'll talk about them. Okay, I grabbed 3 options. So I grabbed None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. This is a thriller mystery novel. When a famous podcaster interviews a stranger promising to divulge the story of a lifetime, secrets emerge that threaten to expose the truth of the lives they both worked hard to protect and protect. So I'm not really sure. I don't know if this is springy at all, but she's one of my favorite authors, so I grabbed it. Next up is Made for Each Other by Lynn Painter. I love Lynn Painter. Typically, I read her young adult romances, and this is a adult romance, so I have not read one of those yet. But it says a millionaire and a house cleaner are a match made in heaven in this sparkling new romantic comedy. So a professional cleaner is, I think, accidentally mistaken by the owner's parents as his girlfriend, and then in order to save face, he asks her to pretend to be his girlfriend. So it's fake dating, and it's an adult romance. That's all I know. It sounds fun. It sounds sweet. I have a feeling it's going to be giggling. And yeah, is it springy? I don't know. It looks kind of springy, like the pink and the purple. I feel like that's kind of springy, right? And romance? I don't know. And then the last one I picked up is Funny Place by Emily Henry. Again, another favorite author. This is a book that I've not read by her, but I've heard so many good things about. And it's about 2 individuals who I'm pretty sure they're significant others. are like best friends, and they realize that they're in love with each other. So they break up with our two main characters, who then end up having to live together because like they both got dumped and they need somewhere to live. So I believe it's like Forks Proximity. I believe it's a rom-com. I think it's really cute. Is it springy? It takes place Wednesday, May 1st. So I think that's our answer. At least that's like when the first part of the book starts. I don't know when the whole book takes place. That is the first page. Chapter 1 starts on May 1st. So there we go. We have a springy book that is by one of my favorite authors, Emily Henry, and that is A Funny Story. Book number 3. I'm not putting these back in, by the way, so they're all going to be fresh and new for today at least. A Cat Picks. Ooh, that one's going to be fun. Let me see. Well, we'll do that one last, and then I will pop it in here because I'm going to have to move the camera, and the angles will be different. So this one we will do in a little bit, and then I will pop in the clips right here. Okay, book number 4. A series I'm reading. Oh, yay! I was hoping I'd get this one because I'm really trying to tackle series I'm in the middle of this year. So like if I'm in the middle of a series, I really want to get it read this year, or at least up to date, so then I can like start fresh series and not feel so overwhelmed with like all these different storylines. So let me grab some series I'm in the middle of. Okay, I have a bunch for this one. Like I said, I'm in the middle of a bunch of series. So the first series is the Ashton series. Book 1 was The Road of Bones. That's the only one I've read. I'm now on book 2, which is Kingdom of Claw. There's also book 2.5 and book 3 are out. So this is a romantasy series, a Viking-inspired romantic fantasy series. So I feel like Viking-inspired sounds pretty springy, right? Perhaps? Next up is A Curse Carved in Bone by Danielle L. Jensen. This is book 2 in the saga of the Unfated. Book 1 was A Fate Inked in Blood. I believe this is only a duology, so I believe this would finish the series for me, which would be amazing. And this book is about a shield maiden. It is a Norse-inspired fantasy romantic duology. So while I want to finish a series, I feel like that is not necessarily springy to me. That is like late summer to me. So does not fit the vibes. Okay, next up is A Fellowship of Librarians and Dragons by Jay Penner. This is book number 2 in the Adenashire series. Book number 1 was something of Bakers and Magic. A Fellowship of Bakers and Magic. So this is book number 2. This is about a sunshine dwarf who inherits a dragon egg. But these are very fall inspired to me. This is very cozy fantasy like that, and I feel like that's very fall to me. So, well, I do want to finish this series or continue this series because there's more in it. I don't think it's spring inspired. I don't think it is. And then we have 2 more that I grabbed, the series I'm in the middle of. We have Honeymoon Phase by Amy Dawes. This is number 3 in the Mountain Men Matchmaker series. This one is a fake marriage of convenience. It says, fact or fiction, proposing to your best friend so she can inherit her family business is a great idea. So this is going to be like a spicy mountain small town rom-com book about, sounds like a fake marriage, but it might be springy. Like, do you see that? Does it tell me when it takes place? I love how, like, if it tells me when it takes place, I think it's perfectly good to go. But 10 years earlier, that does not help me, doesn't it? So I'm not sure. This could be an option. There's, like, snow on it, but it looks like it's melting, so that could be an option. Or we have Scythe and Sparrow by Bryn Weaver. This is the 3rd book in the Ruinous Love trilogy, so this would, again, finish a series, which would be amazing. It says, A Friends with Benefits, dark romantic comedy packed with murder, mayhem, and spice. Again, that feels more fall-like to me. So I feel like I have to set that one aside, and I feel like I really need to pick between these 2. And if I'm really going off the spring vibes, it feels like this one. Something about Vikings in the sea. I don't know, I could be very wrong. It feels very wintry, springy to me, like transitional. So we're gonna read this one, continue this series, I hope. It's very fat though, so we'll see if I get intimidated by it or not. Okay, took a little break, but let's get right back into it. We are on pick number 5, but it's actually gonna be book number 4, because we still need to do the cat picks one, which we will do at the end. I'll just flip that in at the end, by the way. I know I said I was going to do it before. I'm going to do it at the end. Reverse Pretty Edge. Okay, yay. So I have a bunch of books that are pretty stenciled edges. And I have them set on my bookshelf reverse edge out, so I don't know, technically, don't know what the book is. So I'm just going to do it based off the pretty edge. I'm going to pick a couple pretty edges that look like spring. feel like I'm striking out. None of them are giving off spring. Okay, I grabbed a couple of romances. I feel like none of my thrillers or miscellaneous genres or anything are pretty stenciled edge. I really had to pick between fantasy or romance, and I really couldn't vibe any of the fantasy books as springy. Like, none of the stenciled edges were giving me spring. So we went with these ones. This one because it's like this orangey sunset that kind of reminds me of spring, like blossoming and sunsets coming back a little bit later and everything. And then I have this one because it has like these pretty little daisies on it, and I believe they're like letters or pages of a book. And I just kind of, the springy little flowers made me think of spring. And then this one has strawberries on it, which made me think of spring. So this one says, one enchanted tarot card, two infuriatingly hot men, and a modern woman who refuses to be anyone's damsel. So it's about a woman who, with her ex, ends up with a magical tarot card, and it sends them spiraling into another realm. So, sounds different, sounds interesting. Definitely gives off spring vibes. So I feel like it's like a romance, but there's also going to be fantasy elements to it too. We will see. And then I have, oh, did I say it's by Kristen Cast? It's by Kristen Cast. Then we have Story of My Life by Lucy Score. This one says, what's more inspiring to a rom-com author than a hot, grumpy contractor literally knocking down walls? Our female main character is an author, and she's in a writing slump, and she has a deadline. So she impulsively buys a historical manor and moves there to try and find inspiration. She hires a grumpy contractor, and I believe that it's like romance happens. I would assume romance happens, but it's a cute little town in it. So this could be a fun read, and this one I know book number 2 comes out in March, so that might be perfect. Or we have Caught Up by Liz Tom Forday. Did I pick this one on purpose? Maybe. I don't know if it's springy, but I'm loving this series. So it is book number 3 in the Windy City series, and it follows Kai, who is a single dad, and he's a pitcher for the Chicago's baseball team, and Miller, she is a high-end pastry chef, but she's between jobs, so she becomes nanny for the summer, and it's like close proximity, and it's a romance, and I'm really excited for it. And I feel like it could give springy because baseball season starts in the spring, but also baseball is very summer. I feel like this one, or this one, I feel like these ones give off more springy vibe. I feel like this one gives off more summer because summer is more of a baseball kind of thing. Sorry, baseball happens in summer. I'm trying to figure out when this book takes place to see if that gives me a, I'm going to go with this one because it feels the most spring to me. So that is Story of My Life by Lucy Score, book number 4/5. And then the last pick from our jar, non-top 3 genre. Yes! That means it has to be a genre that's not one of my top 3 favorites. And I really wanted to get this one because I literally have nothing but romance and fantasy on my TBR, which I love, but I need a little bit something different. So my top 3 favorites are obviously romance, fantasy / romantasy. I know they're different genres, but I group them together because it's easier for me. So romance, fantasy, and thriller are my favorites. That's why they're on like my main shelves behind me. So all my other ones are on the shelf back here. So we're gonna pick some books that feel springy that are non-fantasy, romance, thriller. Thank goodness. My knees hurt so bad today. Okay, so I picked 3 books. We have Lucy Checks In by D. Ernest. This is a coming of age book. Our female main character, she was the manager of a glamorous New York City hotel, and she was involved with the hotel's owner, and she had a whole future planned out. The owner disappears and takes millions of dollars with him, so her life starts to fall apart. Now 2 years later, and she's trying to get her life back together. She's just shy of 50, so it's a bit of an older main character, which is a little bit fun. She takes a job in Rennes, France to manage a hotel there, and like has a coming of age. So that sounds really, really cute and really, really sweet. It's really thin and short, so I kind of love that. I think that one could be really fun, and I feel like France just kind of gives off springy vibes, in my opinion. I also have This Book Made Me Think of You by Libby Page. This was one of my book of the months for this month, February, I believe. So this book made me think of you. This is a book about a woman who recently lost her husband, and she gets a call from the local bookstore that says there's a book available for her, and it turns out that every month for the first year that he passed, he picked out a book for her and left a little note, and she gets to go down to the bookstore and pick up the book and see what he picked out for her, and she starts to make all these connections with customers there and the owner, and I feel like it helps her really get her life going again after the loss. So that one sounds really, really sweet and really cute, and I feel like it's just gonna be such a heartwarming novel. And why is it springy? Honestly, because it was my book of the month in February, so it just came out springy time, and I don't know, it just seems like really sweet and like a comfort little novel that you just want to kind of curl up with and read. And like as the weather's changing, that could be the perfect one. Plus, like, cover looks kind of springy. Finally, I picked Passion Project by London Sperry. This is about a female main character who is living in New York City. She is adrift and she has no direction and no energy. She goes on a date with our male main character and she confesses to him that she has no passion for life, so they start a passion project where he is helping her re-find her passion for life. I honestly think all of these give off springy vibes by their look. I feel like they could all be fun spring reads. This is hard. I kind of want to read all three of these. Like, how do I make a choice? Okay, I feel like I'm gonna read this book because it starts in January, which obviously isn't spring, but either I need to read it now or I'm probably not gonna be inspired to read it until like next January. So I feel like if I read it now, I'll be good because the first couple chapters are winter and then it'll transition into spring. So I'll be reading it like transitioning into spring as life does, and then obviously it'll go on through summer and fall, but it'll kind of be like the whole year and I'll kind of get like a whole fresh year, and it's still like early in the year, so I feel like this one needs to be read. So that is book number 5. This book made me think of you. Okay, let me put these away. I'm gonna pick 3 books for, I think Checkers is the only kitty cat awake right now. He is my old man, so he is my old man. But I'm gonna pick out 3 books and I'm gonna have him pick one for us. So let me go pick out some books and then we'll have him pick. Okay, I grabbed 3 books. I have Rings of Fate by Melissa de la Cruz. This is a romantic fantasy. She's a barmaid who doesn't believe in fairy tales. He's a prince cursed to live one. He's a prince cursed to live one. They pretend to be each other's fiancés to both get what they need. I picked this one because I was recently at a bookstore and the woman who worked there who's checking us out said it was really, really, really good. So with that kind of recommendation, I feel like I need to give it a try. We have Bourbon and Lies by Victoria Wilder. This book I recently just got. It says, "Never fall for a fox brother. In Fiasco, Kentucky, any woman who did ended up dead." And then it's about a man who running a distillery. A woman shows up in town who he thinks is trouble, but he can't seem to stay away from her. This one I just got. My partner picked it up for me at the bookstore, so I felt like I needed to give it a try. And then we also have Lucy Checks In by D. Ernest. So yes, this one was just in the last one. It sounds really cute, so we're gonna pick this one up. Checker's actually meowing, so it's perfect. We'll pick this one up for him to pick from because it needs another chance. So right, so we have Rings of Fate, we have Lucy Checks In, we have Bourbon and Lies. Let me lay him on the floor. Let me grab you, and let me grab Checkers. Checker, come with mommy, okay? Come over here. You come here, check. You come here. You pick one of the books. Come here, pick one of the books. He walked right past them all. Came right to Mama. Oh, what a good boy. Oh. Look, we have 3 books, okay? 1, 2. Oh, we have our winner. As you guys saw, we have a clear winner. He picked and stood on Bourbon and Lies by Victoria Wilder. So, like I said, this is about an ex-cop who now runs a distillery. It is part of a series. It is book number 1 in the series, and he runs a distillery, and a woman comes to town who he doesn't trust but can't stay away from. So, I think it sounds really good. It says, "Lie to everyone but not to me, honey." So, I'm really excited for it. And with that, we have my 6 books for my March TBR. We have Bourbon and Lies, a cat pick. This book made me think of you, a non-top 3 genre. Story of My Life, a Pretty Edge, Kingdom of Claw, a series I'm in the middle of, Funny Story, a book by an author I love, and Thorn Season, a fantasy. Thorn Season, a fantasy. Those are the 6 books on my March TBR. I also want to read this book in March. In the Weeds by B.K. Borson. This is book number 2 in the Love Light series. It follows our female main character. She is an influencer who needs a break from life, so she heads back to a small town. And our male main character who works on a farm. And they had 2 steamy one-night stands, and now they've been brought back together. So I think In the Weeds is like, come on, look at that. That looks like spring. So we're going to add that on. So we have 7 books, but yeah, we're going to add that on. So those are the 7 books on my March TBR, all based on spring. So hopefully we'll get the spring vibes going, we'll get the spring season going, we'll get the spring weather going, and we'll be feeling really good. But yeah, I'm really excited to read those books. Let me know what you guys are hoping to read in March down below, and if you have any spring book recommendations, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I can't wait to see you guys next time. I hope you guys are reading some really good books and having a fabulous March. Live well, read lots of books, and go discover, my friends. Bye!